Does Florida State and Clemson to the Big 12 actually make sense? Right? So, yesterday, Jason Scheer from Wildcat Authority, I believe is the name of it. It's the 247 Arizona site. He, for a long time, was adamant that there is no TV deal. Arizona is going to go to the Big 12. He told people forever. And there were reports that said no, no, no. And nobody fully knows. I would love to see what the documentary looks like once we get there to see exactly what happened, if they ever release something like that. But Jason Scheer came out and says that there is internal belief in the Big 12 that Florida State and Clemson are going to join their league in the next year. And, of course, people shout back, oh, there's no way they would do this if they didn't already have an invite and blah, 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 right? Greg Sankey got up at the podium on Monday for SEC Media Days. He's the SEC commissioner, in case you did not know. But Sankey got on the podium, and he said that they have received calls from interested parties. We'll say that. But that the SEC presidents have made it clear that he will not entangle the conference in litigation around expansion. And basically what that means is this. If the ACC survives, they will not be touching the ones that left the ACC. If more members decide to leave outside of Florida State and Clemson, then I think everything is fair game. But the way that it is currently constructed, with still having an ESPN deal and all that, I don't think the SEC is going to take them. And I've already explained that it doesn't do anything for the SEC. There's no additional value there because they've already got schools in South Carolina and Florida, so the extra carriage fees wouldn't matter, because you're not getting extra carriage fees from those two schools. Now, North Carolina and Virginia, that's a different thing. The Big Ten, all reports are that the Big Ten is not interested in adding more schools. One, because same issue, they don't want to get involved with litigation, because the ACC and potentially ESPN could sue for ruining this conference. Now, again, February 2025 is when the ESPN has to decide if they want to re-up that contract beyond 2027. But still. And then, of course, you get the report from Brett McMurphy today. Big report that said that the SEC and the Big Ten are not going to take Florida State and Clemson. That there's no interest. Now, we did see reports come out that the Big Ten was not interested in Oregon and Washington, blah, 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 because Kevin Warren wanted all four of those. But again, these presidents do not want to get involved in litigation. If the ACC survives, Florida State and Clemson may be screwed, because you don't want to deal with killing a conference, right? If the other schools decide, oh, it is, and that's where the media deal expiration dates are so big, right? The Pac-12 media deal was up. The schools did not have a TV deal, so they were basically free agents. You can go wherever you want to once the TV deal's up. When it comes to the ACC, their TV deal, as it is currently constructed, is not done until 2036 if ESPN decides to re-up in February of 2025. If ESPN says, nah, we're good after 2027, then okay. But then you could not join a new league until 2028, I believe would be the right time frame. This is nuts. Like, the Big Ten may not want Florida State and Clemson because of the fact that they are not AAU schools. It might be that. I think Fox would probably want the carriage fees for Big Ten Network. But if the presidents are not on board and they think it's too much too soon, and they don't want to get involved with the ACC, and they don't want to do all this, then what is left for Florida State and Clemson? The only other option would be the Big 12 or potentially going independent. And I don't think either one of those really wants to go independent. Although, yeah, I mean, you never know. You never know. So each one of these big-time schools could maybe command more on the open market now, but it would all depend on what their schedules look like, right? How many teams, how many schools are going to schedule Clemson and Florida State, big-time schools? How many big-time schools that are in a conference that already have to play big games, how many of them are going to schedule Florida State and Clemson in non-conference matchups? And that's the question. Notre Dame probably will do something with them because Notre Dame's been playing them anyway. They're part of the ACC. But at the same time, will the ACC even allow that if these guys bully their way out of the conference? So it becomes a huge deal. And if they don't have anywhere to go, the Big 12 would make sense. And it's, if the Big 12 is willing to get in bed with private equity and give Florida State and Clemson more money than the other members are making, I don't know what the other schools might think about that, but it is a possibility. So if you had to put odds on what's actually going to happen and where Florida State and Clemson will go if they get out of, if and when they get out of the ACC, I think the Big 12 would probably be the favorite right now, which is pretty nuts to think about. I mean, it's insane to think that the Big 12 could have Florida State and Clemson, and that's after they lost Texas and Oklahoma, right? Like they brought in BYU, Houston, Cincinnati, and UCF to help bolster the conference, and now they are one of the stronger conferences because of that. It's insane to think about. Thanks for listening to Winning Cures Everything. Make sure and follow me on Twitter at GaryWCE. If you want to toss in a question, you can email me, Gary@winningcureseverything.com. Make sure and hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you next time.